if you were somebody like me that constantly spends all of their money and makes excuses for themselves and leans into manifestation and delusion and is like, money comes and goes easily and frequently, so they just spend money steady and they don't even think about where it's going or pay attention to their bank account or cringe when you look at their bank account, this is for you. Right away, you're going to go get these 2 books. You're going to go get Atomic Habits by James Clear, and you're going to go get The Psychology of Money. I forget the name of the author, but you need these 2 books immediately because you need to start understanding that there is so much emotion behind why you buy what you buy and how you shop. And I honestly got a financial advisor this year who works with money trauma, and she really taught me that most of my spending habits and my reason for retail therapy is because I'm seeking validation from a product or something that's external of me. And it really showed me how much my emotions really lead my spending, which is also a problem because that means that I am a reactive person, and being reactive is a sign of trauma, right? So if I want to be a less reactive person, I want to be disciplined, I want to be successful, then I really got to work on those things. So The Psychology of Money is a really good thing. And it also, with the girls who like to manifest and we're delusional, we make our vision boards. I saw this thing in The Psychology of Money that talks about how, do you want to be a millionaire or do you want to spend like a millionaire? Because they're 2 different things. So if your entire vision board is nice cars, luxury homes, all these things, and you can't imagine yourself actually being able to get them, you just want them to somehow fall in your lap, it's because you more than likely want to spend like one. You don't actually want to be one. Because if you want to be a millionaire, you're going to start being disciplined. You're going to check your bank account. You're going to make sure that you're actually saving. You're going to stop buying ridiculously expensive items that you don't need. You're going to stop buying things from TikTok Shop. You're going to stop looking online and just buying random nonsense or listening to what every influencer tells you to buy immediately. So one of the things that's also helped me be more successful and be a more disciplined person, which can lead me to being a millionaire in the future, because you don't become a millionaire overnight. You become one by building a millionaire. And how you build a millionaire is in the little steps that you're taking today while you only have $5 in your bank account. And those steps can start with being disciplined. So I started with using the app called Rocket Money. It's really helping me show like what I'm spending. And I was like, holy shit, I spend so much money on like random Ubers or random food or things just because I'm too lazy and I make an excuse. So now when I catch myself on that app by spending too much, I'm also being more mindful behind my payments that I make. So if I go to buy something, like I'm out to eat or like I'm just walking about and I like get the urge to go get something that I don't necessarily need, I'm like, what would a disciplined person do? How would a millionaire show up to this? They wouldn't buy this nonsense. I can tell you that, that's for sure. So that's one of the books. Atomic Habits is the next one. And honestly, it teaches you how to habit stack. It teaches you how to control your behavior, but not in a way that's restricted and limiting. It's more so like teaching you how like habits actually give you more freedom because you're controlling the ones that you need to do and the things that you have to do, and then it gives you more room for spontaneity, but like at least you're getting the things done that you wanted, so there's less shame, and with less shame comes less random emotional spending as well. So I think those 2 kind of link together, but those are 2 things that I'm doing, or a couple things that I'm doing in this new year while I'm being loud budgeting. Loud budgeting is a new thing that we all need to fall into because it is the way to change the game and it is the way to be responsible. So hope this helps. And I know
Can't stop spending money. Give me 2 minutes of your scroll. I'm going to explain why. It boils down to the fact that you continue to give your stuff and your money a job that isn't really its job. See, when you buy something, you're not just buying a thing, a product. You're buying a future state of feeling. I need this new serum to make me feel confident. I need those injections to feel beautiful. I need all these clear bins to organize my stuff in to feel more in control. So the formula we're seeing here is I need blank in order to feel blank. And there are endless variations of this. But in every variation, you are abdicating responsibility to your money and to your stuff to do a job that really you should be doing because you are trying to use spending and stuff, something in your external environment, to fill an internal void. And the problem is it's never going to work. No amount of stuff is going to compensate for the fact that you just really don't like yourself that much. No amount of clear bins are going to compensate for the fact that you feel totally out of control in your own life. And no amount of beauty products are ever going to be able to solve for your inner self-hatred and self-loathing. And instead of coming to this realization that you're playing a game that can't be won, you just think it wasn't the right top. It's not this serum, it's got to be that serum. It just wasn't that planner, but this planner is going to be the one that changes my life. And so you just keep going out and buying more and more and more, trying to solve your internal problems with external solutions. Now, coming to this realization does not mean that you have to stop buying new things that you want, but it does mean that you can step into a place of power and start spending your money from a place of radical responsibility by recognizing that the worthiness, the sense of control, the confidence, the self-acceptance, fill in the blank, is your responsibility. It is an inside job. It's not the job of your money or your stuff to do that for you. Reclaiming this responsibility over your spending and your money is what day 4 of my 5-day workshop, Sloppy to Sophisticated Spending, is all about. So if you're sitting there thinking, Paige, sounds great, but like, how do I actually do this? That's exactly what we're going to be covering in the workshop. A link to join us in the workshop can be found in my bio. I'll see you there.
About having a shopping addiction isn't normal. Having multiple online orders on their way to you at all times isn't normal. Hiding or lying about your purchases to your partner isn't normal. A recycling bin always full of deconstructed boxes and packaging and shopping bags isn't normal. Never repeating the same outfit isn't normal. None of these things are normal, but you are not alone. I'm Hannah. I'm a former broke shopaholic who dealt with all of these things, and I'm here to help you balance healthy spending habits with your love of getting dressed. If you want more tips to quit compulsive shopping, save this video to keep under consumption content in your algorithm.
If you are someone who struggles with overspending or impulse spending, here are 3 super tactical tips to help you stop self-sabotaging and stop doing this. Before we get into it, let's define what overspending is, because it may not be what you actually think. The obvious answer is spending more money than you actually have, but there's another form of overspending, and it's spending more money than you want to spend at the expense of reaching your financial goals or making your life harder than it needs to be. So ultimately, if you're spending money in a way that you're not happy with and it's preventing you from reaching your financial goals, then you are, in a sense, overspending. Now let's get into the tactics. The first thing you need to do is identify the root of your spending triggers. All spending decisions are emotional at their core, and they can be a result of a few different triggers. The first trigger being emotional escapism, so you are using shopping and buying things as a way to escape whatever emotion you're currently feeling. The second trigger is aspirational shopping, meaning that you see something on social media, and if you buy that thing, then your life is going to look like the life of the person who you follow on social media, which is just not true. And number 3 is habit, meaning that you have unintentionally trained yourself to go buy something when you see something that you like. So to figure out the root of your spending triggers, you need to start actually paying attention to how you feel when you buy something or when you want to buy something. I recommend that you create a note on your phone, or you get a journal and you write down whatever you're feeling either after you purchase or ideally before you purchase, so that you can stop the purchase overall. Moving on to number 2, you should consider a dopamine fast. This is a very hard thing to do and it's not fun. It's also called a no-buy, which I am pretty much fully against, with the exception of really trying to break a spending habit that you struggle with to the detriment of your own life. In the same way, if you were going on a diet, you would cut sugar out of your life, you are going to cut shopping out of your life completely. This is hard and it's not fun, but the goal is to break a cycle and essentially rewire your neurological pathways so that ultimately your brain can stop associating shopping with satisfaction. I recommend that you gamify this in a way, meaning that you keep like a daily tracker, or you give yourself a non-shopping reward after you hit a certain threshold, like 2 weeks or a month. I did a no-buy for all of January, and it literally completely changed the way I approach buying clothes. I don't really want anything, and now anytime I do buy something, I am feeling much more intentional overall about the role that that purchase is going to play in my wardrobe. And the third tip here is to really start creating friction in the buying process. So a few ways to do this could be deleting your credit card information from your phone or your computer, unsubscribing from shopping emails. This is something that I do anytime I do buy something. I immediately unsubscribe from the emails. Unfollowing influencers who only ever promote shopping and don't add value in any other way. Creating an impulse list, so anytime you see something that you want to buy, you just add it to the list, and that also helps you curate a list of like things that you want. And most importantly, tracking your expenses, because this is going to be the fastest way to hold yourself accountable to not buying things that you don't need, because it's so uncomfortable to have to actually write it down after the fact. I talk about this on my latest podcast episode with Paige Pritchard, which I highly recommend you go watch if you struggle with overspending.
You're missing out on life because you didn't get coffee this
I absolutely hate the mindset of, well, I might as well spend it today because what if I die tomorrow? Because let me tell you this, when my mom died, she didn't take any of that stuff with her, and we were the ones that had to go through it. And also, if you were to die tomorrow, I don't think one of your last thoughts would be, damn, I really should have bought that $5 piece of garbage off TikTok Shop. It's so much better to leave your loved ones with quality memories of time they spent with you than it is to leave them with piles of shit that you didn't even really like that much in the first
I've
place.
realized I have a consumption problem. I do. I have an issue. Anything on the clearance aisle, I feel like I just have to have it. If it's 70% off, it has my name on it. I mean, even 20% off. There's something about that sale sign that just grabs me. You know, the little drinking cups, the tumblers, hair stuff on sale, cute socks, blankets, the bags. I am addicted to bags, the totes, all those things. The weird flavors of drinks like Coke, orange cream Coke. Really? That's not even good, but I have to buy it. I have to see what it tastes like. The $1 section, like Target, gets me every time. I mean, truly, no one needs a straw topper. No one 60 years old needs a straw topper, for real. But they are so cute. They just grab me every time. And like all the flavors of olives, those specialty foods, I have to have that. I have to have all of the flavors of all of the things just to try them. And then they usually sit in my refrigerator and then they get thrown out in 2 months because they don't taste good anymore. They really didn't taste good in the beginning, but I had to find that out for myself. So I've got to work on this. This is something that Gina is working on. Any tips is welcome.
54, and if you're younger and still playing with your finances, let me warn you before it gets real. Your bank account is a mirror. Don't get mad at the reflection. It's not what you spend, it's why you're spending. Think about this. If your income doubled tomorrow, would your habits still keep you broke? You keep saying you want change, but you're addicted to convenience. You can't manifest money with a spending problem. Debt is not a curse. It's a contract, and you keep renewing it with your choices. Stop calling it a treat if it's keeping you trapped. If you wouldn't post your bank account with the same confidence that you post your new outfit, it's time to refocus. You don't need a vacation. You need a financial reset and a nap. The answer isn't found in a raise or more money. It's found in how you treat $100. Don't blame God for the drought when you mismanage the rain. Hope that helps.
He talks about the reasons why we overspend. A lot of the reasons is because we feel like we never have enough. Like if you were always told during your childhood, we don't have any money, we don't have enough, there's rice at home. When you start making more money, don't be surprised if you always still feel like you don't have enough. And because you feel like you don't have enough, you feel like you have to spend it. So sometimes overspending isn't because you're bad with money. It's because you continuously tell yourself that you don't have enough.
It's about time we have this hard conversation around financial literacy as it relates to income versus spending. So let me say hypothetical. Let's say that the average cost of living is $7,000 a month. I'm just throwing that number out there randomly, but let's go with that. And we have three people. Person A makes $5,000, first person B makes $7,000, and person C makes $10,000. Now, assuming the cost of living stays the same, which in today's day and age, we know inflation is kicking tail, but let's assume it stays at $7,000. Person A, who makes $5,000, no matter how well they budget, control their spending, etc., cannot make $2,000 come out of thin air to reach the cost of living. And so we talk about helping those people improve their financial situation. That's an income conversation, period. Person B, who makes $7,000, similarly, no matter how much they budget and focus on proper spending, etc., the best they can do is break even. So once again, we have an income conversation. Maybe they can cut some things to give them some wiggle room, which there's going to be a chance to do that. But like, again, they're breaking even. $7,000 to $7,000 cost of living, that's what it is. For my people who make $10,000 though, if you find yourself, assuming that your cost was $7,000, struggling, okay, boo-boo, that's a spending problem. Because you have $3,000 in theory here, up for grabs that can be used to push your financial goals further, to have breathing room, etc. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's on you. The reason why I lay that out so plainly is because we live in a time where we're like not trying to take accountability for certain things. You need to, one, assess what is that cost of living, versus your income and figure out, even the person who's just not making enough, and then we got to figure out how to fill in the gaps on income? Are you somebody who's like 1-to-1, in which case, yes, maybe you need to tighten up a little bit so you can breathe, but also at the same time, figure out some way to bring in some more money? Or are you person C, who's making more than what the heck their expenses typically should be costing, and you're not being freaking responsible? Which goes back to the other video that I said before about recognizing that it's okay to want a whole bunch of things and all that good stuff. Take all the trips, like live your best life, but recognize the season that you're in, that you might have to do some sacrifices in the beginning to set a financial foundation so you can afford to do those things without it putting you in a bad position. And sadly, a lot of us try to act like we're person C, where it's like, oh, no, I'm a 1-to-1, but things are really tough now. Or even person A, like, oh, no, I'm not making enough to afford da-da-da-da. No, we need to be freaking for real and, like, look at our situation, because a lot of us are probably person C. This is not for everybody, but for some people, we're person C, where we actually probably make more, but our spending might actually be out of control. So, just some food for thought to think about. And again, you got to separate needs from wants. Some of y'all got things in the needs category that are simply wants. I don't know how to tell you that.
Your spending patterns, a bad habit is part of the problem. A bad habit is leaving the toilet seat up when you know you have a lady at home, right? Oops. Overspending is a lot more aligned with the qualities of addiction. You cannot budget this away, but you can figure out which one you're impacted by the most and change that part about yourself. Are you a compulsive spender? The mall associates know you by name. You have lost all control. You know it leads to financial strain and debt, but you still say yes. Or are you eating that credit card balance up? You see it getting higher and you just become more tolerant. I'm gonna pay it back. Your ass probably won't. Trying to cut back makes you want to spend more. You're having withdrawals. Saving for your future self is your responsibility, but maybe you're prioritizing shopping instead. And you know it's causing you harm, but you keep on doing it. Obsession. You have more apps to shop than you have to help you actually invest and save. You can't be honest to your loved ones about your shopping habits, or you shop just to feel something. And it just gets worse. It might have just been a little shirt you used to put on credit, but now you putting on whole vacations. Which one spoke to you? If you spend more time working on one of these versus creating a budget, you will see much better results. And you will love my work because my content is dedicated to making good money habits come naturally to you, where you consistently make the right choices with your money and budgeting doesn't feel heavy, investing doesn't feel confusing. Everything flows with how you naturally are. If you like that, give me a
some ways I avoid overconsumption as someone who loves the environment and thinks wasting your money is stupid. First one might be controversial, but I just don't like to throw out things. Even if things are imperfect or not in the best condition, they still serve their purpose, and that's what matters most to me. One of the easiest ways to save money is to not constantly be replacing things. I've had this backpack since high school, and even though it's in bad condition, it still is very helpful when I travel. Instead of buying things, I try to use things I already have, so my curtains are actually bed sheets that I tied together. One time when I cracked my phone screen, instead of replacing the phone screen, I just used tape, and it actually held together very well. Don't buy trash bags. I use paper bags that friends and family hold on for me, because why throw them out when you have them and you could find use for them? I've never had to buy a notebook because I use the envelopes from junk mail. Another way I underconsume is I don't use the full product. So like sponges, I'll cut in half so you get more life out of them. Paper towels, I'll just use a small bit when I'm cleaning. Even tissues, I feel like tissues are too big, so I just use a small portion. I was able to furnish most of my apartment for free. I was able to get this college dorm mattress and the bed frame for free. Someone I dog sit for was going to throw out this beautiful old KitchenAid, and I said, no, don't worry, I will take that off your hands, and it's been very helpful. Didn't have a chair until my workplace was giving these away. Instead of them throwing it away, I gladly took it. I also only like to have one of most things. One spatula, one cutting board, one cup. I only have one water bottle. I don't understand how people have like 20. I've had this one plate since I was in college because it's still in good condition and gets the job done. I also refuse to upgrade my phone every year with a new one coming out. I feel like they're basically all the same at this point. Any new technology in general, I'm just not interested in it. I'm happy with all the things I have. I also drive a very tiny car because it's just me and it feels very practical. Don't need a car with 5 seats and a huge trunk. Like, it's just me. I don't understand why most people drive such big cars when they don't need half the space. My skincare routine is very minimal and simple. Even when I shower, I have soap and shampoo, nothing else. I refuse to do any online shopping, and I do not order takeout or go out to eat just because not only it helps save money, but I feel like it produces so much waste. When I see people reviewing fast food and all the plastic containers that comes with it, it just makes me so sad. I hate it. Don't keep anything everything plugged in, this might be more OCD instead of underconsumption. I don't know, to me it just feels wasteful. Even my fridge, I'll keep it turned down to the lowest setting possible to still keep the food just cold enough. I don't even run my AC in the summer. I just find ways to keep my apartment cool. Most of my work clothes are the same clothes that I wore in college. Yes, even though I went to culinary school, we still had normal classes. I just don't care about clothes or their imperfections that they may have. As long as they serve their purpose, they're getting the job done, and I don't need to replace them and buy more. And that's my life of trying to save money any way I can and avoid overconsumption.
Spending problem. It's an income problem. No offense, but this is probably the dumbest yet catchiest phrase that I keep hearing from people that are opposed to reducing spending. You can't step outside in 2025 without hearing the word billionaire. Everybody's just billionaire this, billionaire that. Do you know how many billionaires there are in the United States? Just over 800. Do you know how much collective wealth that they hold? $6.7 trillion. Do you know how much money we spent in 2024 as a country? $6.9 trillion. The math does not math. We could seize every last physical dollar that those people hold and we would not be able to fund the government for a year. Every single billionaire. Also worth noting that like 90% of that wealth is in equities. It's not even liquid cash. You actually wanted to touch their money. You would have to limit the amount that they can borrow against those equities. Listen, I don't think they need $1 billion. I'm just telling you that all of the ideas that are floating around right now will not touch their money. They don't have enough money as a group to move the needle. Fun fact, the United States redistributes more wealth via tax transfers as a percentage of GDP than any other country in the world, with the exception of France. So for all the talk about the United States as a system and our tax policy, we are the most progressive country in the world next to France. So it is a spending problem, not an income problem. We are the immature child that gets a paycheck and cannot help but spend it. It burns a hole in our pocket. We go to Target, we buy the toy. Every single.
Stop spending your dang money. Stop spending money. My TikTok is infested right now with people getting on here and talking about how they're in so much debt and cost of living is too high and on and on and on and on. And I understand all that cost of living is high, but it doesn't change the fact that your spending habits are ridiculous. Average American has an upwards of like almost $7,000 in credit card debt. Why? If you don't have the money to pay for it now, then don't buy it. I'm not anti-credit card. I have 3 credit cards. Almost all our purchases go on credit cards, but we have the cash to pay that off at the end of every month. I like Dave Ramsey, but I'm not a hardcore Dave Ramsey guy where he said, no, credit cards have a plastectomy because you shouldn't be using credit cards at all. I don't agree with that. There are a ton of points and all that stuff that you can take advantage, but you have to be super disciplined with it and you can't let it get overboard because it is definitely a slippery slope. And I do agree with the fact that he says you probably do spend a little more using credit cards. As long as you're disciplined, then I don't see a problem with credit cards. But why are you buying things that you can't afford now? A lot of this boils down to is stuff that you want to get to impress other people. I think I read the other day the average millionaire's vehicle is like $42,000. Not driving anything fancy. Yeah, it's a nice car, but they're not driving 70, 80, $100,000 vehicles. Sorry, but I'm going to say it. I don't believe for 1 second that people can't make enough money to live nowadays. I want to hear, oh, you live in the Midwest. You don't understand how expensive it is on the West Coast. No, I do. I lived in Hawaii in 2023. I understand how expensive cost of living can be. There are more ways to make money now than there has been ever in history. Do anything. The service industry is booming. Do something on the side. When you get home from work, go clean gutters, go mow the lawn like I posted about. Some lady was making $1,000 a week doing people's laundry for them. There's like, you can do anything, just service, and you're going to make extra money. I don't know if she's still doing it, but my friend Brandy was like buying and reselling stuff to pay off all of her debt, and she's been tracking it on here, so I'll tag. Find you a side hustle for some supplemental income. If that doesn't work, sorry, find a new job. But the big thing is stop spending your dang money.
I guess I like to spend money. Trucks, four-wheelers. I look for boats, jet skis, anything.
Everything.
Just something new.
Constantly begging to be spending money.
We were doing good on the beginning.
What about setting your kids up for success? You're trying to have another kid. You might have another kid after that. Like, what are we...
No college fund. Nothing. I want to.
Why are you more important than the child? And toys?
Oh, yeah. I hate toys. I think toys are a scam, but yet we're filled to the brim with them.
Yes.
Really? Like what?
Yes. He's really into Hot Wheels.
Okay. Listen, I have heartburn medication and caffeine. That's how I make it through this, okay? So we're going generic Walgreens version. Already open? Who the f*** is slamming these down? These were just purchased. I wonder if I'm being drugged right now, guys. If this episode ends freaky and naked, it's not my fault.
He's the same way.
What?
When you're
Oh, when I get drunk.
yeah, when you get drunk, he just
You end up
strips.
naked?
Yes.
Starts getting hot.
Bad. We've got picture proof.
I don't. Ew, no. Well,
No,
why are we
but
even talking about
He
this?
takes pictures.
So toys are more important than our future. Are we saying the entire blame is on you? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, she has issues with, what is it, Shein and Amazon.